For the last lesson in the inequality unit, we are going to look at word problems. And while we are doing this, you're going to want your resource packet open to page 21 here, where we have the equations cheat sheet and the inequalities cheat sheet. So Clark wants to rent a bike to tour Chicago. He decides to rent a bike from Mike's Bike Rental for $15 an hour and wants to spend under $135. So first I circled my numbers. Now I'm going to highlight my key words. So thinking of inequalities. When I look, I see the word under. Under tells me the less than sign. So I'm going to highlight under, and I'm just gonna write the less than sign here so I remember. And then thinking about the operation for equations here, I'm gonna look by my other number. It says for $15 an hour. And if I look at my equations, an or for every is under multiplication. So that keyword of an tells me it's going to be a multiplication problem. So last part is our unknown. Well, it's $15 a what? It's $15 an hour. So hour is our unknown for defining my variable. I'm going to use h and say h equals the number of hours. So we're going to write an inequality. It's $15 times the number of hours h. So 15h. Our inequality sign is less than our total of 135, which makes sense. 15 times our unknown right there, under 135. Under is right next to our total. Now we have an inequality that we can solve. I'm going to draw my line down my inequality symbol. H is being multiplied by 15. The opposite is to divide both sides by 15. 15 divided by 15 cancels to 1h, or just h. Bring down my inequality symbol. 135 divided by 15 is going to be 9. So I'm going to find 9 on my graph. If we've got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Since there's no equal to part, it is an open circle, and our variable is on the left, so our inequality sign points in the direction we need to shade, which is to the left. Last part, we're going to answer a question related to it. It says, would Clark be able to rent the bike for 10 hours? So I'm going to find 10 on here, and I'm going to mark it. Is that 10? Does that fall on our graph? No. So no, that would not work. You could also plug it in for h and say, okay, is 10 less than 9? No, that's not a true statement. All right, number 2. The drama club is selling up to 500 tickets for the spring musical. If they, I'm going to circle at 500, if they already sold 454 tickets, how many more people can purchase a ticket? So I highlighted those numbers. Now we're going to look for the keywords. Looking for the inequality first. I noticed by our total amount that they want, I see the word up to. So I'm going to look here, because right to the left of that total we have up to, and on our chart here, up to is right here, and that is less than or equal to. So I'm going to write that this is going to be less than or equal to. Now, I'm looking at if they already have sold 454 tickets. I don't see any key equation words there, so I'm going to keep reading. How many more people can purchase a ticket? I see the word more. How many more? And if I'm looking at my equation, cheat, more tells us addition. So I'm going to put a plus sign there. And for defining a variable, well, the question's asking us how many more people can purchase a ticket. So either you can say P equals the number of people or T equals the number of tickets. Either one really is fine. So I'm going to say T equals number of tickets left. And let's write our inequality. So I'm going to start with our inequality symbol. We know it's going to be less than or equal to our total of 500. Then on this side, I'm going to take my variable t, and I'm going to make it kind of a curved or cursive t so it doesn't look like a plus sign. If you're worried about that, use an X or something else, or use P for people. The operation that we had was plus, and the number that we are adding is 454. Now we can solve. I'm going to draw my line down my inequality symbol. If we are adding 454, we are going to solve by subtracting 454 from both sides. On the side with the variable here, those 454s cancel each other out. We're left with t. Bring down my inequality symbol. 500 minus 454 is 46. Now let's look at graphing and answering the question. I'm going to find 46 on here. If this is 45, 46 is right here. Since it has the equal to part, it means that that number is included, so I'm going to shade it in to show that it's included in our solution. Our variable is on the left side, so that arrow points in the direction we need to shade, which is to the left. And last part, would everyone be able to buy a ticket if 49 people show up? So I'm going to find 49 on here, and I'm going to mark it. Is that part of the shaded area? No. Plus, if I plugged in 49 is less than or equal to 46, that is not a true statement. All right, flipping over to the back. Mrs. Carlson is taking an Uber that costs $4 per mile for a ride. She has no more than $48 to spend. So looking at my keywords here, I'm going to start with the inequality. So I'm going to look at the total amount that she has, which is $48. To the left of that, I see the phrase no more than. And if you don't remember what that is, I'm going to look on my chart here, and I see no more than right here that is less than or equal to. Then, looking at my other number for the keyword for the equation, it costs $4 per mile. So looking on my equation chart, I see per right here that is under multiplication. So it is going to be a multiplication problem. And then last, to finding our variable, well, it's $4 per what? It's $4 per mile. So I'm going to use M and say M equals the number of miles. Now let's set up our inequality. So our inequality symbol is less than or equal to, and the total amount is 48. So it's less than or equal to 48. Now over here we're doing 4 times the number of miles, M. So we're just going to write that as 4M. Now we have an inequality that we can solve. Draw my line down my inequality symbol. M is being multiplied by 4. The opposite is to divide each side by 4. 4 divided by 4 cancels out. We're left with just M. Bring down our inequality symbol. 48 divided by 4 is 12. Now let's go to graphing. I'm going to find 12 on here if this is 10, 11, 12. Since it has the equal to part, I'm going to shade that in. Our variable's on the left, so our arrow points in the direction we need to shade, which is to the left. Now we're going to go through and answer the question, would Mrs. Carlson be able to go 16 miles in the Uber? So I'm going to find 16 if this is 15. 16 is right here. That's not part of the shaded region, so no. And then if we had plugged it in, 16 less than or equal to 12 is not a true statement. All right, last problem. Johnny wants to go to at least 25 baseball stadiums in the MLB. If he has already gone to 11 stadiums, how many more does he need to go to? So circling my numbers. Looking at my total, he wants to go to, the total is 25. The word that's directly to the left, at least, is going to tell me my inequality symbol. If I look on my chart, at least is here where it's greater than or equal to. So I'm going to write that down here, greater than or equal to. Then we're looking over here. If he has already gone to 11 stadiums, I don't see any keywords there. I'm going to keep reading. How many more, I'm going to highlight that, does he need to go to? If you look at your equations cheat sheet, more falls under addition. And then defining our variable. So, what are we talking about here? 11 what? 11 stadiums or baseball stadiums. So I'm going to use B because an S kind of looks like a 5. So I'm going to say B equals number of baseball stadiums. And then let's set up our inequality. So looking at our total amount of stadiums that he wants is 25. The inequality symbol is greater than or equal to. Setting up the other part, we're going to take our variable of B. Our operation is addition, and the number that he's already gone to is 11. So our inequality is set up. We can solve it. We're going to draw a line down our equal sign. If we are adding 11, we're going to get rid of it by subtracting 11 from both sides. On the side with the variable, it cancels out. We are left with B. Bring down our inequality sign. 25 minus 11 is 14. So I'm going to graph this answer. Looking at our graph, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Since it has the equal to part, it should be shaded in. And our variable's on the left, so that inequality points in the direction we need to shade, which is to the right. Last question. Would Johnny meet his goal if he goes to 16 stadiums? So if I find 16, this is 15. 16 is right here, which does fall on the shaded area. So yes, that would work. If I had plugged it in where our variable is 16 greater than or equal to 14? Yes, it is.